If I was running an e-commerce brand in 2025 and wanted to turn email into a serious revenue machine, here's exactly how I do it. These are the same strategies we use to help our clients generate thousands in revenue, and I'm breaking it all down for you step by step. We'll cover the three pillars that make the biggest difference: how to grow your list with a high converting pop-up, how to set up automations that drive sales 24/7, and how to send campaigns that keep customers coming back week after week. This is literally the playbook that gets our clients 30 to 50% of their monthly revenue just from email. So let's get straight into it. As for me, I'm Mike. Here you can find more info about me and my contact details if you want to get in touch. And I've also included the exact document we'll cover in the video down in the description, so feel free to use it. All right, so why email marketing? To understand why your funnel needs to evolve and why email marketing is essential, we need to talk about one major challenge, and that's the rising cost per acquisition. So, driving traffic to your store is crucial. That's why most brands rely on paid ads across Meta, Google, and TikTok. But the problem is that traffic isn't cheap. And even when you do attract visitors, most of them don't buy right away. Today, shoppers are overwhelmed with options and easily distracted. They leave your site, browse competitors, and often never come back. And bringing them back means paying again, more ads, more spend, and even tinier margins. So it's a costly, unsustainable loop that keeps pushing acquisition costs up and profitability down. And all of that leads to one simple truth: without a high converting pop up and a proper email system, most of your paid traffic goes to waste. But when you have a proper email system in place, you can get more out of your paid ads and turn that traffic into real profit, even if people don't buy right away. Okay, so let's break it down with an example. Say you spend 1000 on ads, only 1 or 2% of that traffic will convert and make a purchase right away. So if you don't have a high converting pop-up, the rest will just leave, and many of them might never come back unless you spend more money on ads. But with a strong pop-up, you can capture 5 to 15% of those visitors and add them to your email list. Then 10 to 20% of those subscribers can convert through a well-optimized welcome flow, and the rest will be nurtured over time through email campaigns and eventually make a purchase as well with no extra ad spend. That sounds much better. Let's now go over the core pillars you need to get right. So there are three core pillars. First, focus on the list growth. You need to get more out of your ad traffic. You need to capture those visitors on your email list so you can convert them later without paying for more ads. Second is build optimized core automations. Set up your core automations to create a personalized experience that builds trust and drives sales. And third is send multiple email campaigns per week. We need to send at least 3 campaigns per week. More touch points mean more sales. And this is the process we'll be breaking down in this video. So let's start with the list growth. Okay, so why is it important to have a high converting pop-up? The truth is that most people won't buy the first time they visit your store, but that doesn't mean you've lost the sale. If you can capture their email before they leave, you give yourself a second chance to turn them into a customer without spending another dollar on ads to bring them back. And the best way to do that is with a high converting pop-up. When it's properly optimized, your pop-up can convert 5 to 15% of visitors into email subscribers. From there, you can educate them through email, build trust, and address their objections until they're ready to pay. And the best part is that a well-optimized pop-up doesn't just boost the long-term revenue, it also helps lower the acquisition costs because you're no longer relying on paid ads to bring people back. Plus, more of the people you have brought to the website are now converting. So I hope that makes it clear why having a high converting pop-up is such an important part of your overall strategy. Now let's take a look at how to actually create one. All right, so first, choose your offer. The offer is the most important part of your pop-up form. If you think about it, why would someone sign up for a newsletter with a weak or vague offer? Customers today know their email and personal data have value, and they're not as willing to give them away for nothing in return. That's why your offer deserves serious thought. In the past, pop-ups like sign up for our newsletter might have worked, but those days are long gone. So we need to ask ourselves what kind of offer would actually entice someone to join our email list. Then we need to test different versions to find what resonates most, not just in terms of signups, but in actual purchases down the line. So a couple of offers to test. First, you can test percentage off. So as a rule of thumb, this tends to work well when your average order value is under $100. For example, if your average order value is $50, 10% off sounds more appealing than $5 off. But if your average order value is above $100, then you can test dollars off. And let's say that your average order value is $200, $20 off sounds better than 10% off. Other incentives you can also test are free gift with purchase, free shipping, free guide, giveaway entry, buy one get one free, cashback offer, or mystery gift. Now my personal favorites are percentage off, X amount off, free gift with purchase, or a mystery gift. These are usually the first ones I'd test since they tend to perform best. So the second one is create a quiz type form. Once you've got your offer figured out, the next step is to build a quiz style form. These forms are much more engaging and valuable than the usual get 10% off, enter your email pop-ups. They act as a pattern interrupt for your visitors, making them far more likely to interact. Plus, these forms are designed to collect valuable data directly from your visitors. So all you need to ask is a simple question that's relevant to your product, something about their preferences, needs, or goals. And this not only boosts engagements, but also helps you personalize your follow-up emails for better conversions. You can take the example below over here. Before asking for the email, the brand asks, where are you seeking support, with options like pain relief, stress, sleep, and energy. This not only engages the visitor, but also gives the brand insight into what the customer actually cares about. So after they sign up, they can send more targeted, relevant emails that drive higher conversions. So I definitely recommend the testing quiz style forms, and here are a couple of additional optimization tips. So first, don't have your pop-up show up the moment someone lands on your site. It feels annoying and can lead to a frustrating experience. People are more likely to close it right away, and your sign-up rates will suffer. We usually recommend showing it between 5 to 12 seconds after someone arrives on your site, and that gives them a chance to look around before being asked to take action. Second one is keep it simple, one input at a time. The more you ask from your visitors, the more effort they have to put in, and that can push them away. You want your form to actually catch the eye. Bigger usually works better. So don't be afraid to try a full screen version. I know it might feel like a lot, but it often performs way better than the smaller ones. Don't use too much copy. All you really need is a short headline, one input field, and a clear CTA button. That's all. And create a separate desktop and mobile form. What basically looks good on a big screen might not look so good on a phone, and vice versa. And that's it. The goal is to set up a high converting pop-up that turns more of your ad traffic into subscribers, people who would have otherwise left your site. This way you'll grow your email list and make more money over time. Let's now talk about the core optimizations you will need to have in place. When it comes to flows, there are endless advanced automations you could build, but the truth is most of the results will come from getting the basics right. Instead of overcomplicating things, start with the core flows, the ones that make the biggest impact right away. In fact, around 80% of the flow revenue typically comes from these core automations alone. Once they're running smoothly and delivering results, then you can set up more advanced flows to capture extra revenue and further personalize the customer experience. Now, the core flows I'm talking about are the site abandonment flow, the browse abandonment flow, the welcome flow, the abandoned cart flow, the abandoned checkout flow, the post-purchase flow, and the win-back flow. Below, you'll see a breakdown of each individual flow. If you want a more in-depth explanation, I'll link the document in the description so you can check it out later. But for now, I'll briefly walk you through each one so you can get a clear idea of what it does and why it's important. First, we have the site abandonment flow. What is a site abandonment flow? The site abandonment flow is an automated email sequence that triggers when someone visits your site but leaves without taking any action, meaning they haven't viewed a product or added anything to the cart. The truth is that most people land on your site, scroll for a bit, and leave because they're not sure what's right for them. This flow helps you step in and give them direction. So the goal here is simple. Just guide them toward the right products or collections so you can move them further down the funnel. Here are two quick examples. Now, these emails weren't originally used as site abandonment emails, but they show exactly what I mean. First, let's take this one from Frank Buddy over here. Instead of overwhelming visitors with too many options, they use a simple quiz style guide that points the shopper straight to the product that fits their needs. And then we have this one from Sio Beauty. They use a super clear want need format. For every common skin concern, they show the exact problem that solves it. And I think these examples make the idea really clear. All right, next we have the browse abandonment emails. What is browse abandonment flow? Browse abandonment flow is an automated sequence of emails that gets triggered when someone views products on your website but leaves without adding anything to the cart. The goal here is simple. We need to remind people of the exact product they were checking out and spark that interest again. Sometimes they just need a quick reminder to come back and buy. So what should you include in your browse abandonment emails? You want to show them the exact item they viewed, add a little bit of trust with things like free shipping or easy returns, and include reviews or testimonials to make them feel confident buying. You can also show a few of your best-selling products as backup options just in case they've lost interest in the one they were originally checking out. And the main idea here is to remind, reassure, and re-engage. So here we have a couple of examples that clearly demonstrate what I mean. Let's now jump straight into one of the most important flows you need to have, and that's the welcome flow. The welcome flow is sent right after someone joins your email list, usually through your pop-up form, and it's often the very first interaction a new subscriber has with your brand inside their inbox, which means it sets the tone for the entire relationship. So the goal of the welcome flow is pretty simple. It's to turn new subscribers into paying customers. It's basically your chance to build trust and start guiding people toward their first purchase. Here we've got a great welcome email example. As you can see, these emails introduce the brand, include a limited time incentive to create urgency, build confidence by explaining why customers should buy, and show social proof to back it all up. And if you want to dive deeper into this, I've got a full video that breaks down everything you need to know, so make sure to check that one out. All right, the next flow you need to make sure you have is the abandoned cart and checkout. So what is abandoned cart? So these emails go out to people who added items to their cart but didn't complete their purchase. And the goal is simple. We need to remind them what they left behind, address any hesitation they might have, and give them that extra nudge to come back and finish checking out. But here's the thing, the abandoned cart and abandoned checkout flows aren't the same. If you see here, the difference is simple. Cart abandonment triggers when someone adds an item to their cart and leaves, while checkout abandonment triggers when they start checkout but don't make a purchase. And here's what's crazy. Over 80% of the brands I audit are missing a true abandoned cart flow. Both are important, so if you really want to recover the most revenue, you need to have both in place. All right, here are a couple of great email examples. They keep things super simple, reminding shoppers what they left behind, building trust with guarantees, and backing it all up with social proof. All right, next we have the post-purchase flow. This one gets sent right after someone makes a purchase from your brand. And the goal here is to turn your first-time buyers into repeat customers. So it's not just about saying thank you, it's about making them feel good about their purchase, helping them get results, and keeping them connected to your brand. Here are two great post-purchase email examples. The first one builds excitement and trust by letting customers know their order is on the way and reducing buyer's remorse. The second one focuses on helping customers get results by showing them exactly how to use the product. And if you want more details and examples, make sure to check out my dedicated post-purchase video. You can find it in the document below. And the last flow you need to make sure you have in place is the win-back flow. And what is a win-back flow? The win-back flow is sent to customers who haven't made a purchase in a while. The goal here is to re-engage those lapsed buyers, remind them why they love your brand, and encourage them to come back and shop again. And that's basically it. Those are the core flows you need to have in place. It might take some time to build them out, but once you do, you have a system that consistently drives sales. I also have a dedicated video on each of these flows where I go much more in depth. So if you're interested, make sure to check them out in my channel. Next, we've got the manual email campaigns, the ones you send out to your email list. These are super important and you want to be sending multiple per week. However, whenever I say this, the first thing I hear from most brands is, I don't want to spam my list, and I totally get it, but here's the thing. Sending too few emails is actually way riskier than sending too many. When you only show up once a week or less, here's what happens. People forget about your brand, they lose interest and stop engaging, and when you finally show up in their inbox, you feel more like a stranger than a brand they trust, which is when unsubscribes spike. Now, on the other hand, blasting your list with daily emails 5 to 7 per week might give you a short-term sales boost, but it quickly backfires. People tune out, unsubscribes climb, and your deliverability takes a hit. So there is a sweet spot. After testing this with dozens of e-commerce brands, we've seen the best results when sending 3 to 4 campaigns per week to your engaged audience. And here's why it works. You basically stay top of mind without overwhelming people. Consistency builds trust, which drives opens and clicks, and it's frequent enough to keep sales flowing, but not so much that people burn out. Of course, I always recommend testing the frequency for your own brand and audience, but as a starting point, aim for at least 3 campaigns per week. That's a really solid sweet spot to begin with, and then you can adjust up or down based on what the data tells you. Alright, so once you figured out how often to email, the next big question is, what should you actually send? And here's where a lot of brands get it wrong. They fall into the trap of blasting constant discounts and sales. And yes, promos drive revenue, but if that's all people ever see, your brand starts to look desperate and eventually subscribers stop opening altogether. So the goal is to create a healthy mix of campaigns that keep your emails fresh, relevant, and worth opening. And when subscribers see variety, they stay curious, and curiosity is what drives clicks and sales. So to make this super actionable, I've put together a list of 15 proven campaign ideas you can plug directly into your calendar. You don't need to use every single one, but having this variety ensures you'll always have a fresh angle to keep your audience engaged. I've also included more details in the document about what each type of campaign should look like, so make sure to check that out. And that's it. That's really all you need. A high-performing pop-up form, all your call flows in place, and 3 to 4 email campaigns a week. Now, if you're an e-commerce brand and want help setting all of this up, from your pop-up to your flows and campaigns, my team and I can handle everything for you so you can maximize revenue from the traffic you already have. You'll find the link to book a call in the description down below. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I'm always happy to help. You can also follow me on social for more tips, insights, and practical guides. I have put the links to my socials in the document down below, so feel free to check them out, and thank you for watching.